Hey Stitches, it's me, Fairy Godfather. Happy New Year, welcome to 2024. If this is your first time joining me this year, this is the first regular episode of the Fairy Godfather Knitcast in some time. Thank you for joining me. I'm happy to be back. Today I am just going to show you the finished objects that I have and let you know what I have been working on so far this year. And yeah, just get caught up. So the first thing I have to show you is what I am wearing. You've seen me working on it before. It is the Woven Chevrons shawl from West Knits, designed by Stephen West. And these are all Artful Belle colors. It's Pernod, I think. Well, I'm sure I've said them before. I will put them all up somewhere. But anyway, yeah, it was wonderful. It was so fun to knit. It's like fun to play with and just fun to hold. Obviously there were, I don't know if I should say obviously, but there were mistakes. Like here's one, but you can see how I kind of tried to fix it. I would, once I got used to the repeat, if I ever messed up on a chevron, I would try to go drop down and fix it. So for the most part, that worked out. It didn't happen too often once you get the hang of it. So yeah, I love the way it turned out. I love the colors that I chose. I love how bright it is on rainy, gloomy March day like today. I really enjoy the pop of color. It's a very sort of striking pattern, and yeah, I'm really happy I went with like bright contrasting chevrons on this. I did end up having to buy a second skein of my main color. It's this sort of like burgundy Merlot color. I'll put on the screen what it actually is. And if I can find it, geez. And yeah, on the last repeat, I just figured I could tell I was running out and that I would need another skein just for like a little bit more. But that's fine. And I am repurposing, continuing to use, not repurposing it, but I knew I was only going to use a little bit on this and I have other plans for this. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, so it has been a lot of shawls. Over on Instagram, I'm gonna say all shawl y'all, because yeah, I have about 4 shawl. Anyway, I finished this one that I've been working on for a very long time, and then there was the MCal, the Geo Gradient. So I'm just gonna show it briefly. I have a series of videos just about this shawl, and all the drama that happened with the MCal and so on in the fall, but also I did one recently that was just showing the finished object. So you can check that out by itself if you want to see it more in winter and styled in different ways. But I will just hold up. So this is my finished... I was like, am I showing you the back? No. This is my finished Geo Gradient, which was this year's Stephen West MCal. So it's also West Knits. I did an Entrelac Clue 1 replacement. Yeah. So that's what I was doing for most of October and November. I'm trying to remember even everything else that I've been doing along the way. Oh yeah, I do have one more finished object. I'm like, should I show it now? But yes. So it was in this shawl era. So yeah, I had the MCal, I finished this, and then I had a test knit on a brioche shawl. So I was very excited to have the opportunity to test knit for Pafito. Yeah, I'd seen their work before with the watery sweater that they designed last year. I'll put a picture up. And a couple people had sent me this pattern and said that they thought I might want to knit it. And I do really admire it. I just hadn't had the chance to get it on the needles yet. And then I saw this opportunity or a call for test knitters. And I was very, very pleased to be accepted. So this is the Fractal Reaction Shawl. But first, here's a little video from the beginning of this project. Okay, so I just wanted to show this before I frog it. It's like basically the first 2 repeats of the whole shawl. I just need the yarn to finish it. But I wasn't super familiar with brioche, and, you know, it just takes a while to get used to anything. So, I mean, there is something I did wrong even on this bottom, like where they're joined. But then as it moves over, you really see it more. It kind of shows more on this side. Like I got into this weird patterning that I knew wasn't correct. It's supposed to look kind of more like this. So I just knew I was so off that it was like essentially unfixable. I would have to take the whole thing out. So I just started over at that time. I kind of took this to be my swatch and just sort of there you can see it. And my sort of like learning process. But now, like I say, I need the yarn just to finish up. I'm on the 4th triangle, so I just need to finish the 4th triangle and then do the little 5th triangle. And I should be done, which should happen for you in a couple seconds. Here we go. Yeah, this is the right side. So it starts with this huge triangle. You cast on this edge, this long edge. And then there's a repeat and it decreases. And then so you get all the way down to like 1 or 2 stitches, and then you pick up the stitches for the next triangle, which obviously has the brioche colors reversed. And then, you know, you decrease down to this point and you pick up stitches for another triangle, and then a 4th triangle, and then a 5th triangle. So once you get this, I'm gonna put it on. Once you get this repeat in your head, it won't leave. So like, you know, for me, like there's a bit of learning curve in the 1st triangle, obviously. But once you get the hang of it, it just flows. It just flows. And it's really, really fun. It's a really, really fun knit. If you're nervous about brioche, it's a great way to learn brioche. I think there's like 2 different increases and 2 different decreases that you would learn. Like a right-leaning decrease and a left-leaning decrease. And maybe just the 1 increase. Anyway, like, so there's some basic brioche, like the basic brioche stitch is a lot of it, like just brioche knit, brioche purl. But then you also get to learn these increases and decreases, and it's really fun. One of the other test knitters, she stopped after just the big triangle because it was already so large. She just didn't want it any longer. So it is very big, but the pattern's cool that way because you could just leave off a triangle at any point, or you could just keep going with it. So, but I did the full 5 triangle version, and I love the size. I love it's such a long taper that you can really like wrap it and wear it in a lot of different ways. I did put some shots of this up on my Instagram, which is fairygodfatherknits. I'd love to see you over there if you're an Instagram user. Yeah, so this was also a big part of what I was doing this winter. I think it was originally due in January, and then they gave us a bit of an extension. And I was working up to the last minute on it. So yeah, the brioche is time consuming because you do every row twice. But I think well worth it. So yeah, this is my other, another finished object that I have to show you for 2024. Oh, the yarns. The more saffron colored one is from Cabin Boy Knits, whom I love. I bought this yarn from them years ago, intending to make an elf mail with it. Then I was going to make an Andrea Mowry, I almost said oats and honey. What is it, honey and wool? Honey and wool, I'll put it up. This one, I've wanted to make, I've had this pattern for years, and I've wanted to make it. I thought it would look great in that saffron, but it's actually, is it saffron? Magnolia. Oh my God, I'm gonna put it up. Um, oh my God, I feel like I know what it is. Marigold. Calendula. Okay, I will put it up. Um, I think Andrea Mowry's sweater would look great in it, but I only had 2 skeins, which wouldn't have been enough. But that was perfect for this. So I was like, okay, this will be great. And the other one is Malabrigo Ultimate Sock. I think the colorway is Wabi Sabi. I'll put it up if it's not. And so, yeah, I thought the colors like played really nicely together. And, but also the yarns are very different textures. And that really, yeah, like depending which one was color A and which one was color B, the material was a bit different. The way the pattern shows is a bit different. Like, look how much wider the kind of O's are, like the little circular shape. When the yellow's dominant, like they're a lot bigger than on the other side. So yeah, the yarns, like, they just behave differently. They're treated differently. And yeah, that was like an interesting aspect of knitting this as well. Okay, so then I'm trying to think what else has been going on. I also knit a Phantom Fuzz by Park Williams. It was a request from my mom as a Christmas gift. So I do have a bit of footage relating to that. So I'm going to insert that in now. Hi, everybody. I'm going to try to do this like Franny from Franny Do Makes and say, excuse the state of me. I probably butchered that, but she did that in her vlogmas. No, it was the MCAL. Anyway, one of her videos, she was filming late at night and she said, excuse the state of me. And I've wanted to do it ever since. Anyway, I have just now finished a Phantom Fuzz by Park Williams. This is for my mom, and I just realized I'm giving it to her tomorrow. So I thought I would just film something quickly with it. This was originally a birthday present for her. Her birthday's at the end of October, and then it became a Christmas present, and now we're a month past Christmas. So I just need to get it to her. I've made it for myself before. You've seen me wearing it. This is mine. It's funny. I'm gonna have to put photos in now anyway, but like they're the same size, like the same number of stitches, but I just stopped sooner on my mom's because she's shorter and the sleeves are just a lot shorter and the V is a little higher. So anyway, it's been interesting. I know some people don't knit the same pattern twice, but I definitely do. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out and I'm excited to give it to my mom tomorrow. If I can ever get a photo of us both wearing them, I will. Okay, I'm gonna give it a quick block and then go to bed. It's like 2 a.m, but I just like had to finish and I just wanted to at least show you quickly. Okay, bye. So I actually don't have a photo yet of my mom wearing the sweater or the two of us wearing ours together at the same time. But I did get it to her. It fits her great. She really enjoys it. So it's some future time I will definitely show you a picture of the two of us wearing our matching mother and son Phantom Fuzzes. And that was just done with Drop's kid mohair, like the exact same as I did mine. She very much wanted like just like mine except her size. You know what I mean? So I used the exact same yarn. And I will move on to imagined landscapes. So yeah, I don't know absolutely what to say about this. I'm just sort of like, since this is a channel where I share my knitting journey, I'm just sharing this aspect of my knitting journey with you. But I'm not making commentary on anybody else or on the design or anything like that, because I actually think those things are great. So this is Imagined Landscapes. She does these incredible gnome patterns. They are very popular and with good reason. And around Christmas time, or like in December of 2023, there was a gnome along. Like it wasn't called a gnome along, but a mystery knit along of gnome. You've probably seen a lot of other people do it. I found out about it through Kelly Menzies' Discord, Roro and Cades. And one of the people on there was doing it, and so a bunch of us all decided to sign up. And like, as I say, it was really fun. So like, I've been wondering where my DPNs are. We made this hat, which I have attached to the head, which I've started stuffing. So you ended up making, it turned out in the end that, spoiler alert, there was like a gnome and a snowman. So anyway, this was like as far as I got with the snowman. But I love this hat, and it was fun. And then there were like some random pieces. I think one of these became a scarf. Maybe one of these became like a pedestal or something. This, I think, is somebody's nose. I'm not sure. And then there were two arms. I've lost the oh no, here's the second arm. So these were like the snowman arms. So anyway, it was fun. I just didn't keep up with it. I don't know. It's like, where the Stephen West MCAL was maybe like too much knitting per week, and it was like hard to keep up with the clues, especially given everything that happened. With this one, you get an email every day. So it is a lot of email. So if you are at all the sort of person, as I am, who can be like overwhelmed by email, and if you have sort of a lot coming at you, I would sort of just forewarn you that this is like that. Like, you do get a lot of communication. But within that, there were a lot of non-knitting days. And I understand that, and that's great. And I think that is really helpful for a lot of people, maybe who are parents or who have other, obligations on their time. And given how busy December is, like, this makes sense for a lot of people. But for me, it just, having those non-knitting days, like, allowed me to sort of put it down and a little bit put it out of my mind. Or I would like wait till there were like 2 or 3 days worth of clues, and then I would do all of that in a day, and then it would be days before more like knitting clues came. You know what I mean? So just for me personally, and the way my like brain and knitting muse and anxiety and time management and everything like work together, this project didn't work for me. Like, there wasn't enough, I don't know, like impetus or fire to like get me going all the time. But then once I was behind, I felt like, oh, I can catch up, until suddenly I couldn't catch up, or I just didn't feel motivated to catch up. As I sort of saw what it was becoming, I just wasn't personally like a huge fan of this year's design compared to the other gnomes I'd seen, which are fantastic. So again, like, I think she's fantastic. I think Imagine Landscapes is fantastic. The experience was fun. The things that were included on the non-knitting days were things like coloring book patterns, recipes. Like, that was really fun. The story that came along with it, like there's a literal story about the gnome and the gnome land and everything, was really fun. I kind of loved that idea. I found it really inspiring. It kind of got me firing. But yeah, it just wasn't enough to keep me knitting. And unfortunately, this meager offering is as far as my Imagine Landscapes went this year. Oh my God, I forgot to say, I have a scale now. So I want to say a heartfelt thank you to a lovely subscriber who got this for me. They heard me saying that I didn't have a scale in a previous episode, and that money was tight, and they bought me a scale. So thank you very, very much. I so deeply appreciate it. And in this context, it was mentioned to me that I don't always make clear how the podcast can be supported. So I just wanted to say that if you are interested in supporting me financially. I do have a Ko-Fi page. This is a page where you can tip me or buy me a coffee is sort of the language they use by making a small donation. There's options on there. I will put the link in the show notes. And you can also support me by liking and subscribing and by sharing the channel. It really does make a huge difference. And I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who comments. I love reading your comments. I love seeing the engagement. I love answering them. And it makes this so much fun. And it is really what keeps me coming back. So thank you so much for those. And I really appreciate each and every one of you spending your time with me watching this. In the frogging file, I feel like in Knitting Podcast, there should also be a frogging section. I did end up frogging, sorry Dan, this Blooming Brioche Zandy Peters shawl that I was working on. And I did it for the yarn. But now I'm trying to remember what I used that yarn for. I feel like I'm missing something that I was working on that I'm just forgetting about. But anyway, we'll see if it comes to me. But the one I do have, so this is, I really should have looked at the name. I think it is Glittering Snowscape. This is another Stephen West shawl. So like I said, it's been a real shawl fall. All shawl, y'all. It was the, I think the hybrid knit along. I was not planning to do it. And then lo and behold, I ended up with the pattern. So I just had some little yarn bits that worked perfectly for it. So I had this white stuff sitting around from I know not where. I think maybe way back when I did that lamb toy or something, but I just had this small amount of white yarn that I thought would be great for the start. By the way, the gradients in the kits for this shawl are incredible. The way Steven has designed the gradient is incredible. So the actual gradients in the pictures that are in the pattern and the kits that Steven and Penelope put together, the gradient is one of the most incredible, subtle shifting things I've ever seen. Mine is not that smooth. It's a little bit stripier, but I'm basically happy with it. Allow me to continue explaining. So that's the white. This I had from that same box, that Winterlight Apricity box I got years ago before I knew what yarn was. I forget if this was in something. This might have been in that Blooming Brioche. No. Question mark. I don't remember now. This pink I had left over from the lettering on my Queer Little Nightmare sweater. I'll put a link to that video up here. If you're new, basically I made a sweater based on the book cover of a horror anthology I was in called Queer Little Nightmares. Anyway, so this is Artful Belle in the colorway Grapefruit that I had left over from that. Then I switched into, this was also from the Apricity box, as was this. This was definitely in the Blooming Brioche. This then is the extra color, the 5th color that I bought for my Geo Gradient. The rest of that is in here. And then we transition into, this is the one skein I allowed myself to buy for this shawl. It is also Artful Belle. Of course, I forget the colorway. And then that's what I'm going to use the rest of this for at the end. So it'll be quite the sort of color journey, but I think it all works and I'm happy with it. And what is cool about the design is at the end, in the final section, I'll show it to you next time. But with this color, there's these little wings, but then you put in little bits of all the other colors. And I happen to have just a tiny bit of each thing left. So I'm hoping that should work out nicely. Um, I don't think I'm gonna wear it. Like that's I just these aren't like my colors. It's like a bit I don't know, calling to me in that way. I did never felt like I was making it for myself. I just felt really called to make it. Um, so I'm not sure. There's like a couple possibilities for it. I'm not going to say anything right now. But I'm basically going to either be gifting it or donating it. So I'll let you know. I'll show it to you like when it's done, and then I will let you know what its ultimate fate is going to be. So I think that's everything that I've been working on, unless I am forgetting something major, which would a little bit surprise me. I think that has been sort of all the knitting I have been up to. Oh, no, I did a baby box. Okay, sorry. I also do this thing called the baby box. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before on this channel. But yeah, I call it the baby box, and I basically, I've done it for just a few of my friends where like they give me some money and I give them a certain number of pieces for their baby. So they can kind of give me input into selecting like the yarn and what kind of items they're looking for, and then I send it to them. So I was doing one of those for a little girl, my friend's daughter Vera, whose birthday is December 24th. So it just came back to me now that I was doing a lot of that in November and December as well. I'll put up some pictures of some of the things. I won't go through every yarn and every pattern, but like I did mostly like hats. So I remember doing this sort of like grape hat, and yeah, I also did a cardigan that I kind of just made up as I went, at least in terms of the colors and yarn choices and so on. Yeah, so I did a cardigan, 3 hats, and another Penguino, which is a Stephen West pattern that I love as well. So anyway, hopefully I am throwing up photos of these right now because I can like see it in my mind, but I'm not doing a good job of explaining it. If you would like a baby box, please email me at fairygodfatherknits@gmail.com and we can get that conversation started. I'd love to make some clothes for your precious littles. And then last night I did something. Can you guess what it is? So for those of you who don't immediately recognize, I guess that was the back. This is one side of the tail of an emotional support chicken. Yes, in this instance, I am so happy to be a joiner. I am so happy to get in on a fad. I've never been so happy as when I finally had the like $10 to buy the pattern, because then I just whipped out some scraps and started making an emotional support chicken. Look at this gradient that I did. I'm so proud of that. And just from stuff in my stash, like I know this is like Brooklyn tweed, this dark brown. It's mixed with this old like acrylic yarn that I have from when I like first test knit that sock way back. This yellow is also Brooklyn tweed, but it's Arbor, I think. It's a different base. I got it when I made that hat for my mom. So like I've been really enjoying knitting from my stash. Like this shawl is all stash stuff. Even with the test knit shawl, like half of it was from my stash. I actually had the sock yarn as well, like intending it for socks. So it was a bit of a repurpose. I have not bought yarn in 2024 so far. I'm not saying that's like a position or like a stance I'm taking this year. It probably won't last the whole year. But I'm just, yeah, for me personally, where I'm at, I need to be saving and, yeah, just I can't be spending money on yarn. Let's put it that way. And so it's been a wonderful sort of nourishing process to knit from my stash and to see how much I can create with the yarn that I already have, and kind of letting that direct a lot of my decisions. Yeah, so moving forward, I will be trying to do a Knitcast episode every 2 weeks, and I will be doing other content in the alternating weeks. I'm going to be on the road for a while, so I will give you some content from the different places that I am. I'm going to be introducing like some book reviews and some sort of knit with me segments. And so I'm really hoping for a lot more to be coming on the channel. Part of taking this time away was to kind of decide whether I really want to keep doing it, and I definitely do. So yeah, thank you for staying with me, and look forward to more from me soon. The other thing is that in the coming months, I really want to design. I have been talking about it from the beginning. I first mentioned this as a knitting and design podcast, which is still how I think of it. And like, I have done some things like the sweater I made from Laura and the sweater I made of the book cover and things like that. But I want to actually be writing up patterns and getting them on Ravelry. That's just a big goal for me this year. So I have a few things that I'm working on, and I'm now going to really focus on that in the next few months. Yeah. And then I also have the Hollyhock course, of course, that I'm getting ready for. And as I say, I will be putting out a few more promotional things about that as we're ramping up the registration. I will put it again in the show notes, so please check that out if you're at all interested. You don't have to necessarily be a writer, but yeah, it is themed around writing and knitting and what holds us back with our projects and moving forward, pushing past fear and getting ourselves untangled so that we can work on the things that bring us joy. And it's a 6-day course in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I'd love it if you could join me there. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, and I'm so glad to be back. Happy knitting. Bye.